Hi, welcome to the next channel. While I was having a session with my student, we are discussing on some networking topics besides systems. And then I was discussing about the transport layer, and then he asked an interesting question, why there are sequence numbers in TCP, why it is not there in UDP, because I just asked him he can sniff the packets in Wireshark, and then he can study further after my earlier session, okay, so that in case if he had any questions, he can be free to discuss with me. And then during which I think he analyzed, and then he wants to compare what makes TCP different than UDP. I mean to say, let's just ignore about this connection oriented, connectionless stuff and all that. I mean to say I just asked him to explore the protocol wise and the headers and how things are put together. Okay, let's not go with the basic known stuff, which is one is so and so service, one is so and so service. So his question is why TCP has this sequence number. So because TCP headers, as we know, it has even checksum and stuff. Even UDP also has checksum at transport layer, and then we have another checksum at IPv4 or IPv6 headers as well. So if you go here in the TCP header, see, before we discuss, what we can do is we can analyze this TCP header. We open some images in Google search. Yes, you can see there. Let's open this bigger one. You can see there somewhere you will have this sequence number and acknowledgement number, and this is what we get. And if you go and search UDP header, you will be getting just very few the header this thing fields. Okay, so you can see there you have the source port 2 bytes, destination 2 bytes, length is 2 bytes, and the checksum for the overall stuff. So you can see there it is just very small compared to TCP. And let us not forget about TCP header is dynamic versus UDP header is fixed. Okay, so TCP header can extend if you add further options and stuff, and these are some of these options can be even user defined. Okay, that you can't do it in UDP in transport layer. Okay, so you can see there the sequence number and acknowledgement number or something like that is not there, but if you see the checksum stuff, you have already the header and data checksum, so you have that checksum over here. So this is what we get, and we can also track or capture some few sample packets in Wireshark. Okay, so let's just capture some few packets and analyze in real time what these sequence numbers are. Okay, so let me open some site. Let's just, or some page over here. I have done yes, networking. I can open some see, long back I did an entire episode on online course networking and stuff. So let me open that page. If I find over here, yes, so here it is. So as we know, as we do that, we should capture some sample packets in Wireshark. So you can see there it is getting all these packets. So let's just before stopping, we can also do something. We can open some random website, say like LinkedIn or something, so that we get some few DNS packets, and thereby we can capture some sample UDP packets as well. See, the objective is to capture some sample UDP packets. So let us sort it out. If you click this protocol field, or if you click any of these top fields, it is going to sort this in ascending order, descending order, whichever way you want. See, it's like a toggle. If you click like this, it starts with ARP DNS, so alphabetically. If you again click, it is going to sort it in descending order. Same thing you can do in different fields as well. So you can see there we got some few DNS packets. DNS is an application layer protocol on a transport layer like UDP. Okay, so you can see there we have this UDP header for this DNS, and you can see there it is totally 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bytes it is. Okay, so if you scroll down, we have these TCP packets, and you can also see these HTTP packets. Okay, so you can see there the HTTP is on top of this, TCP. So that way, if you extend this TCP header, you can see the sequence number will be somewhere here, right? So identification and tone fragment, I think where it starts, I'm sorry, it's not IPv4, it is TCP. Yeah, you can see there TCP sequence number and acknowledgement number and stuff. See, as we know, TCP, since it is a connection oriented transport layer service, okay, what happens is it kind of maintains this sequence number so that it can track what is happening, okay, so that it can avoid man in the middle attacks and stuff. Because if you don't have this incrementing numbers passing to and fro, anybody can introduce a bogus packet and then pretend as if it is it is genuinely generated, so which is what we call as man in the middle. So you can do man in the middle in SSL. Again, there are measures to avoid man in the middle in SSL, which means it can be SCP downloads, or it can be even our this thing HTTPS packets. So the whole idea of HTTPS is to also avoid man in the middle stuff right from application layer and also the transport layer. So that is why we have this sequence number. You can of course study further about sequence number so that it can kind of get more apparent. See, TCP handshake, some kind of a picture if you take, you will find all sorts of pictures like this, and then they have not illustrated the sequence number and stuff. What happens over here? Yes, you can see here, SYN sequence number is this, and followed by which you have this acknowledgement, which is an incrementation of this, so and so. So you can see, you can read that further like this. Okay, you can read that further, but my quick answer or the intent of this video is, so this type of connection oriented service is in the transport layer itself with TCP. So we have this sort of a arrangement. We have this sequence number, acknowledgement numbers, or whatever as a part of architecture of TCP. But if you see the UDP case, UDP acts like a layer 2, like I said, than calling as connectionless service and stuff. We should call UDP as L2 service, which is UDP is data link layer on layer 4. Okay, so this is a better definition of UDP than calling something which is not when you say UDP is connectionless service, we always tend to see UDP as a disadvantage, which is not actually. Okay, it is not a disadvantage, it's a different service than TCP. And if you know how to use UDP, UDP is a great tool. It is very much used in modern SDN stuff, VPNs and stuff like that. Okay, even I am a fan of UDP, which I told many times actually. So what is the thing is, if you use a UDP like service, you can avoid getting you can mitigate lack of sequence numbers and stuff in the transport layer, which means you are now responsible and you can add it in the application layer protocol. Okay, so if you are writing any UDP apps, if you are writing any file download or some UDP apps, okay, if not UDP is used as like a VPN or something, if you are using as some type of service like that, what you can do is you can add these sequence numbers and some type of identification to avoid man in the middle in application layer. Okay, so you can do that. In the case of TCP, TCP itself provides the connection oriented service. In transport layer, UDP, since it misses or it doesn't have that in transport layer, what you need to do is you can do the same in the application layer and you will get the same type of service with UDP, but you need to do yourself. It's more of a DIY stuff versus TCP. It itself provides implicit. So if you write any socket code, if you write any application layer with, you can communicate with the sockets. What you can do is, when you do that, you can add in your data structures, the packet data structures of your application layer, and take measures so that you can have some type of sequence numbers and stuff. Again, it depends on what you are doing. If it is a VPN like service, you don't need to do that, because all it is doing is some type of a packet exchange. The VPN itself works more like a sort of a routing gateway. Okay. If there is any packet loss or something, anyway, if it is transferring packets, the TCP packets on your VPN link, if any packet failure or something, anyway TCP will recover. Okay, same way if it is doing via UDP, anyway even UDP will recover, provided you would have done your DIY on your application layer and don't depend on UDP. Okay, so this is what it is. So this is the reason we don't have it in UDP, and again, it is not anything lack of stuff or something. It's a great protocol which is again getting a lot of attention in modern days. All you do is bring these guys, push it to the application layer, and you deal your connection. You can establish connection with UDP via application layer itself. So in that case, you don't need TCP like stuff. So what I meant is, to summarize, let's take this picture. Okay, let's take some picture like this. Okay, yes, let's take some picture, TCP picture like this. Okay, copy image, let's bring it over here, paste. Yes, so this is TCP is doing, but in the case of UDP, if you have any UDP, what you do is you have the UDP and you have the application layer on top. Below is the regular stuff. You have the IPv4 and layer 2, whatever. So let's suppose this is your UDP, and this is your application layer. So what you do is add sequence numbers and such metadata over here. Okay, see, whatever you have seen in TCP header or UDP header, it is just nothing but metadata. Okay, what you do is what it lacks, you bring that metadata over here, because UDP as a transport layer, it doesn't have that logic. Okay, so you can do here. There are advantages if you do this DIY by yourself versus getting done via TCP and stuff, because with this we can do lot of tweaks, and we can also accelerate the performance versus what you can traditionally do with a typical TCP stuff. Of course, TCP can do congestion control, everything. The same thing you can actually do with the UDP, because the power is transferred to you. You do the stuff versus TCP does by itself in the kernel space. Okay, so you do the stuff and the power is given to you. Okay, TCP, the power is given to TCP, versus UDP, the power is given to the programmers, the power is given to the architects, network software architects. So this is the reason I like UDP, because I have the power to do what I want, versus TCP, it treats me like a small kid by doing everything the way it wants. Okay, so again, I'm not saying can we replace standard internet protocols, or some websites still use TCP, why I need to do that. See, you need to comply, which is been put together when you communicate with the standard services or standard websites. Of course, you need to comply, and you need to use whatever is available. If they have provided the website through HTTPS, you need to use HTTPS. You can't bypass that. But if you architect any cloud-based services, if you architect any network automation and stuff, of course you have the full control. Who is forcing you to use the TCP again? Okay, so if you have your software, you can use UDP, versus if you use any standard internet services, you comply whatever they have given. You just need to comply and use what is there available. Okay, even if you use UDP over standard internet, still it has compliance, because UDP is still accepted over public internet IPv4 networks. Okay, so hope this gives that big picture. If you have anything to discuss, be in touch via mail or post your queries in YouTube comments. Thanks a lot for joining me. Stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.